And now joining us over the phone line is Zanu PF spokesperson. A very warm welcome to you, Kennedy Mandaza. Thank you so much for your time. Now, there have been claims by the opposition that Zimbabwe authorities are abducting opposition activists and launching court cases to suppress protests. What more can you tell us around this?
Good evening to your viewers. What I can say is that the work or the duty of the police in Zimbabwe is to make sure that they protect the citizens of the country, to make sure that there is peace and tranquility throughout the country. And it will be remiss for the police to then go out and abduct people. Yet their responsibility is to secure their security in the country. So the allegations, yes, they have been thrown left, right, and center by the members of the opposition. But until such time, they release the names of those people that have been abducted. Until such time that they bring those cases to the courts of the people that have been abducted, I think these would remain hearsays, because no one so far has brought up any given name of an individual who has been abducted or reported to the police. And one hopes that if these cases are there, I think it is always prudent that you bring it to the attention of the police or the law enforcement agencies that we have in Zimbabwe, which we understand and know very well that they are very capable to deal with these issues. So at the moment, they remain allegations as they are. And let me also say that there is no reason why the members of the opposition can be abducted, or there is no reason why members of the opposition can be persecuted by anyone. Because this is an election where people went in to choose their leaders. And one hopes that after exercising their democratic will, what should be going on right now is people accepting defeat and those that have won to do so in magnanimity. And then the country moves on. But for as long as we continue to throw spanners and we continue to make allegations, then we are only creating instability in our own country, which is very unfortunate.
Now, the MDC says they have been the target of a brutal crackdown that exposes President Emmerson Mnangagwa's claims to respect rights and halt repression. Has the president gone back on his word?
The president has not gone back on his word. He has been consistent ever since his inauguration that the country, he has been preaching love, he has been preaching unity, he has been preaching peace. And even during the course of the election, he has been preaching all these things that I've spoken about. Even after the scuffles that took place before the release of the elections, he also preached peace and love and unity in the country. And there is no way that he can release people to go out there and persecute members of the opposition. It is the members of the opposition that we have seen inciting people who have been going out throwing hate speech to try to incite the generality of the people of the masses of Zimbabwe to undertake an uprising, which is unheard of, especially given that our elections were very peaceful until the time when the members of the opposition decided not to accept the results even before they were released. And that incitement brought about what the skirmishes that we saw, and then the intervention that led to the unfortunate death of 6 people and the injury of many. And that the president has been very clear, and he said that that should not have happened, and already has instituted a commission to make sure that an investigation is undertaken to make sure that we understand what exactly transpired on that particular day.
But now, after the 6 people were killed, critics have said that this brings memories of the Mugabe era. Now, has the president done enough to move away from the Mugabe era?
The president has done so much to move away from the Mugabe era. Until the incident that took place was it on Tuesday, that on Wednesday, there is no other incident that had taken place prior to that. And even as we speak right now, we have no other incident of that nature that has taken place. The incident that took place was as a result of a demonstration that had started, which had turned rowdy, which had targeted the shops, targeted cars, properties of people, and people who were not prepared to listen to the law enforcement agents. However, that does not justify the fact that at the end of the day, 6 people got killed. But the demonstration could have been averted if members of the opposition had not incited their members to go on the streets while we were waiting for the release of the elections. The president, like I've already indicated, is a man who has been consistent in preaching peace and unity in the country because he values these as fundamentals that are needed in order to drive the economy.
Now, in terms of the funeral arrangements, how will the government assisting?
I'm not privy on the arrangements of the funeral arrangements for the deceased, and therefore I cannot comment much further on that.
Okay. And just one last question. What did the president mean when he said he will usher in a more open Zimbabwe than under Robert Mugabe's rule? What will he be prioritizing the most on his list?
I think Zanu PF has come up with a manifesto in which he also had an input. And this manifesto is premised on unity, fighting corruption, a re-engagement, developing the economy, and creation of jobs for the generality of the people, particularly the youth in Zimbabwe. And one of the most important things and expectations of the people of Zimbabwe is that the president should, as he go into his 5-year term, should assemble a team that will selflessly work with him to achieve his vision of turning Zimbabwe into a middle-income economy. And people are also expecting that the deals that are and projects that were made before the elections, they are operationalized so that jobs begin to flow in Zimbabwe. And this will be important for our youth, who for a very long period of time they have not been able to get jobs. Another thing that is different from what we have seen in the past is that the president has started to re-engage the international community. And this is premised on the understanding that the capital which is needed to turn around the fortunes of Zimbabwe is in the capital cities of countries outside Zimbabwe. And as a result, he will then go out and engage these people so that we can access foreign direct investment, we can access credit lines which are needed to retool the industries, and also to make sure that we can also sell the products that we'll be producing. So there is a big menu that the president has on his hands to make sure that he turns around the fortune of Zimbabwe.
All right, thank you so much for those details. And that was Zanu PF spokesperson Kennedy Mandaza. As you know that last week, Monday, millions voted in the first election since Robert Mugabe, who was ousted last November after 37 years in power. The rise in violence since has come as a huge disappointment to those who hoped the brutality associated with Mugabe's rule would disappear with him. Security agencies continue to crack down on the opposition activists in Zimbabwe on Sunday, less than 3 days after historic presidential elections won by Emmerson Mnangagwa, the leader of the ruling ZANU-PF party. And now moving on, President Ramaphosa has also congratulated President Emmerson Mnangagwa. He added that Pretoria looks forward to working with Harare's new leadership. Mr. Ramaphosa was echoing sentiments he expressed ahead of the elections on the conduct of the Zimbabwe election, where he pledged to work with the eventual winner. He had also hoped that South Africa would be invited to the inauguration of the new president, as he wished Zimbabweans well. Mr. Mnangagwa's clinched victory with more than 50% of the vote. This serves to avoid a runoff election. The largely peaceful election was, however, marred by Wednesday violence, which claimed the lives of 6 people. The Zanu PF spokesperson in South Africa has also condemned the action.
We do not condone violence, and we strongly regret the unfortunate incidences that took place in Harare, which led to the death of the 6 people and the injury of many others that are in hospital. And our leadership in Zimbabwe has already sent condolences, and we equally do so, send condolences to the families of those who lost their lives. And equally, we also say speedy recovery to those of our people who got injured during the skirmishes that took place on Saturday.